Hi, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be starting our second day on fractions, decimals, and percents. Yesterday we talked about only fractions and how to turn fractions into percents and percents into fractions. Today we're going to move on to decimals. Very, very easy. If you thought yesterday was easy, I actually think today is even easier. So let's go ahead and get these notes finished. All right, you will notice that these are the exact same notes as yesterday. Yesterday, when we were looking at our graphic, we focused on number 1. Today, we're going to be focusing on number 2 and number 3. So number 3 is to convert a decimal to a percent, we are going to multiply by 100. Number 2 is converting from a fraction to decimal. We should already know how to do that. We're going to divide. That is not going to be part of our lesson today. However, we are going to use that to help us out. So if we take a look at our little triangle here, yesterday we went from percents to fractions. Today we're going to go from percents to decimals and decimals to percents. So decimals to percents is already on there. It's very easy. We're just going to be multiplying by 100. When we change a percent to a decimal, we can go backwards, and we'll talk about that here. We could go against the arrows. We'll talk about that in just a second. Or we could continue to follow the arrows. We could turn a percent into a fraction, which we know how to do from yesterday, and then we can turn that fraction into a decimal, which we know how to do from about 2 months ago. So either way you do it, it should be really easy. I think today's is actually easier than yesterday's, and I think you'll like it. Remember to have your calculator out. That's going to be very, very useful for you today. So let's take a look at our examples. So percents and decimals. I'm going to write each percent as a decimal. So number 1, I have 15%. So if we follow our triangle, I actually go from percent to fraction first. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did yesterday, and I'm going to take my percent. I'm going to take my percent here, and I'm going to write 15 on the top, and then if you remember, it's always the same number in the denominator, and that's 100. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take 15 over 100, and I'm going to divide. I'm just going to divide the numerator and the denominator. So 15 divided by 100. I can use my calculator, and I'm going to get 0.15. So 15% is the same as 15 hundredths. All right, number 2. Number 2, I have 80%. So I'm going to turn it to a fraction first, so 80 over 100. Remember, my denominator is always 100, and my numerator is just going to be my percent. And then I go ahead and I divide. So 80 divided by 100. And I can use my calculator if I need to, and I get 0.8, so 8/10. Now, before we do number 3, I want to show you a little shortcut here. You will notice that in number 1, we divided by 100. And you will notice in number 2, we divided by 100. So in number 3, if you want to do the shortcut, you should be able to figure what that is. We're just going to divide by 100. So I'm going to do 125 divided by 100, and that equals 1.25. All right. So if we go back to the top, I just want to show you really quick. If we go back to the top, my little graphic organizer here, my arrows on the bottom here, they're pointing from decimals to percent. But the problem that we just did, we actually were going the other way. We're going from percent to decimal. Now, decimal to percent, I multiply by 100. So if I'm going backwards, it's the opposite. I'm going to divide by 100. So that was our shortcut that we just learned. All right, let's take a look at how to turn a decimal into a percent. Really, really easy. All you need to do is multiply by 100. Every single time, that's what you're going to do. So in number 1, I have 0.47, and I'm going to times by 100, and I get 47. And then don't forget the percent symbol. So 47 hundredths is the same as 47%. All right, number 2. Number 2, I've got 1.75. Now, this is a bigger number. That's okay. We're going to still multiply by 100. And 1.75, or 1 75 hundredths times 100 is 175%. All right, last one, number 3. Number 3 is 52 hundredths, so I'm going to write that down. And all we need to do is multiply by 100. And 52 hundredths times 100 is 52%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our lesson for today. Just like yesterday, when you had percents and fractions, today there is no IXL for percents and decimals. Instead, you are going to do the very quick worksheet that is provided for you. Do not forget to submit that into the Schoology folder that says percents and decimals. And as always, don't forget to message me on Schoology if you need anything. Bye, guys.